Hey gang, I wanted to talk about the practical applications of box breathing, or really any mindfulness practice, and how it can help you manage stress. It can help you manage crisis situations, and it can just help you be more mindful in your everyday life. A big reason why this is true is because your breathing, managing your breath, is really like a gateway into your unconscious brain, because breath control is something that lies at the intersection of the autonomic and the somatic nervous system. The somatic part is what stuff you can control. The autonomic part is like your lizard brain, the unconscious brain. And breath is really interesting because if you attend to it, you can control your breath. You can regulate the way you breathe. But if you sort of start doing something else, your breath just sort of is automatically regulated by your body. And generally speaking, when you get nervous, your sympathetic nervous system, your sympathetic autonomic nervous system jacks up, and you start freaking out. You get that flight, fight, or freeze response. And so people either hyperventilate, they'll hold their breath inappropriately, like they won't breathe. They'll start panicking, especially if they have racing thoughts. It's something that happens to everybody. Even the most mindful of folks, the most mindful of monks, will have that sympathetic nervous response. But controlling your breath, attending to your breath, taking control of your breath so it doesn't take control of you, is something that is a practice. You can get better at it, or you can get worse at it, and it can help you increase by taking control of your breath and mindfully breathing, you can reduce that sympathetic nervous response and increase the parasympathetic nervous response, or the feed and breathe response. That is something that's not very easy all the time, but it's, let's say you start getting nervous, the number one fear is public speaking. If somebody says public speaking, usually and you start imagining yourself sitting in front of a classroom giving a speech, people start getting nervous, they start freaking out, and if you just breathe, you can usually start to calm down enough that you can gather your thoughts and start to really focus on the task at hand. And that's really the benefit of these mindfulness exercises, of meditation, is not necessarily those 5 minutes you're on your mat breathing. It's taking that practice off of the mat. It is using it in moments of great stress, when most people would be freaking out, and letting their sympathetic nervous response just take control. It's the purpose of a mindfulness exercise is to, when things start getting out of control, you just rein it in the same way that when you are doing these mindfulness exercises, when your brain starts wandering, your mind wanders to like something that you have to do later in the day, you kind of bring it back into that, you bring your focus back to the breath, and you don't let that thing that you're thinking about take control. And that's really the benefit of mindfulness exercises, is it's just being more mindful, being more aware of what are your emotions, what's your emotional state, and guiding it, and not letting it guide you, let it push you around too much. And I would really like to hear any feedback you guys have about how mindfulness practice has benefited you in your everyday life. It's something that can be a little bit more subtle than you realize. You're really looking for a negative when you are talking about the benefits of the mindfulness exercise, because you're looking for situations in which you would normally not have breath control. So looking for a negative is pretty difficult, but it's something that has benefited me greatly in my everyday life, that I notice that I don't lash out as much, or I don't jump to conclusions. I stop, think about what I want my reaction to be, and then I react, rather than with zero thought gap. I just reflexively make a decision without even really thinking, is this something that I want to do? Is this how I want to behave? And that's really the benefit of a mindfulness practice, that controlling that unconscious brain through breathing, because breathing lies at that really unique intersection. It's also a way you can control your heart rate. Breathing is really a gateway into your unconscious brain, and that's the true benefit of all these breathing exercises. All this mindfulness work is controlling that unconscious lizard brain that tends to go all over the place. So think about that, consider it, think about the benefits of a mindfulness practice, and enjoy.